Hej och välkomna till ännu ett avsnitt av Coffee & Confidence Podcast. Mitt namn är Nathalie and George och jag är confidence coach och grundare av Herway. Jag är även hostess för den här härliga podcasten med djupa, meningsfulla diskussioner där vi pratar om alla saker som är relaterade till självutveckling. Och idag så har jag en väldigt spännande gäst med mig, vår första internationella gäst. Vi är i Köpenhamn och spelar in det här avsnittet. Och vi har även ett fantastiskt väder med oss idag. Så sommaren har hälsats oss välkomna här i Köpenhamn. Och kanske är det så att du känner igen att det här namnet klingar någonstans. För att det här är en man som varit tidigare basketproffs och sedan valt att sadla om till mindfulness coach och performance coach. Kanske känner du igen namnet för att han relateras ofta till stora NBA-stjärnor som Kobe Bryant med flera. George Mumford, welcome. Very welcome to this.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here and great to see you.
Great to see you too. Did you enjoy my Swedish?
Yes, it was melodic.
Yeah, we often hear that.
Yes, yes.
So I'm so happy that you wanted to join. You're actually our first international guest.
Oh, it's nice being first.
Yeah, it is, right?
Internationally first at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking your time to
You're welcome.
sit here and talk about life. We are going to talk about your life story, how you came across mindfulness, and what importance it has.
I was in recovery from substance abuse. And when I got clean, I discovered I had chronic pain. So I was involved in this revolutionary, it was a cutting edge program called Managing Stress. You know, we'd have to give DNA and they would test us before and after. And we had this, and I got introduced to the mind-body process, mindfulness and meditation and some of the mind-body modalities like yoga and Tai Chi. So the idea was a lifestyle change for me to take responsibility for myself and to be, instead of going to a doctor's office and having them give me pills or cut something out, that I was going in as a full-fledged partner, that I had to take responsibility for my well-being and realize that the mind and the body are one, they're connected, and how I use consciousness, how I direct attention, and how I manage, self-regulate has everything to do with my ability to manage, in this case, chronic pain, and learning how to relate to the pain in a way where it's like pain as motivator, to get to know myself, to understand the root causes, and actually to with the help of my doctor and healthcare professionals, how to manage it, how to be able to relate to it in a way where I didn't have to take pain meds and actually activate my addiction, but being able to use them, pain meds in safety, but more so learning how to self-regulate, learning how to relate to my pain in ways that led to wellness, to well-being.
Oh,
yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Yes.
And to hear that that's also what is it called, an alternative to finding a new way or path in life.
Yes. And then back in 1984, 85, when I engaged in this, it was changing the medical model of, you know, you have something wrong and then you do something about it. And sometimes because we don't have the awareness of it or we don't recognize it, it could be something that's, you know, like an issue, a symptom, and it can become a disability, and it could actually become a cause of death. So in this model, it's whether or not there's anything wrong, it's about continuing to build wellness or maintenance and prevention so that we're getting higher levels of wellness. So no matter what happens, when it happens, we have enough to cover it. We have enough money in the bank so that the check doesn't bounce. And so just getting to higher and higher levels of wellness. So it wasn't just like, okay, I don't have any symptoms, I can stop. It's like continuing to learn, grow, and develop. Learning, growth, and development. And that's the way, is how far can I take it? How much wellness can I get access to? How much wellness can I claim and deposit?
And you're often referred to some of your clients like the national stars from NBA like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. And I mean, that takes a lot of courage to be the mental coach for these stars. But how did you find your own motivation to quit drugs and just change the chapter?
Yes. So I wrote a book about 8 years ago called The Mindful Athlete Seekers to Pure Performance. And in that book, I talk about my process. And my motivation, I call AOF motivation. And so I'm going to apologize for what I'm going to say. So that's ass on fire. Yeah. So there has to be a sense of urgency, or you have to have a little heat on your cheek to be able to understand that what you're doing is not working. So you have to try something else. And so that's what happened. I got to the point where I had to try something different.
Yeah.
I had to do something differently, or I had to change how I was seeing things. And so that's what got me into it. So I was really motivated. And so I took that same energy that I used to actually go after substances and alcohol, and use that same tenacity, that same Mamba mentality, if you will, to go after wellness, to go after well-being.
Wow.
And just learning how to develop my mind, body, heart, and soul, the 4 domains of being. And I did that through, I would summarize it by awareness, self-awareness, self-regulation, the ability to regulate my thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, but also to regulate my orientation, my frames of orientation and devotion, which means there's a friendly universe. This glass is half full. So when I came from the half full, I was coming from love, from abundance. If I look at it as half empty, which is what I've been doing up to that time, I'm in the scarcity, fight, flight, freeze, and I'm not fighting, because I could use that fight part to fight and say, okay, I'm going to meet whatever is in front of me with the right attitude and the right effort to actually learn from it. What's the lesson here? And change that roadblock into a stepping stone. So that was my approach. And so once I did that, I realized that the best way to learn more about it was to teach it. And the best way to keep it was to give it away. And so that's how I got on this journey. And that's how I got to mindfulness, as being part of the process of learning how to say yes to everything. And then in this creating space between stimulus and response. And in that space, I have the freedom and power to choose how I'm going to respond to something. Even if it's something I had no control over, I still have control over my reaction, which is like this, and just, maybe not so helpful, maybe generating more frustration, anger, and pain versus response, which is responding to it in a way where I learn and I get to express myself. My latent abilities will express themselves in that crisis, which is a way of saying danger and opportunity. So it's always about the opportunity. Yeah. How can I change? What's the lesson?
I just loved how we think alike. And as you referred before this conversation, you said that just one microphone is working at this moment, and normally we use 2. Right. It's just how to learn how to surf, I often refer to. Or you said, just think about the water, like the flowing.
Yeah, be like water. This is what we got, so we make it work.
Yeah.
Embrace it. Yes, this is it. There's something for us to get here.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. And just show up and not focus on the half glass, half empty.
Right.
And, we don't have the other mic. And then now we're getting the self-talk that's talking about we don't have another mic, and it's not going to be clear, and it's not going to be this. And then we're going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Of doubt, fear, doubt, and insecurity, rather than just being able to say, okay, we got this. It's going to be great. And let's just be here now. And let's just use what we got. Do what you know to do, and the next step will be given to you.
Right.
Yes.
And the most important, the message is being sent out, even if it's just by one.
There you go. It's good vibrations, right?
Yeah.
It's the vibe. Yeah.
And as I told you, I'm very playful by nature, so I often think about myself when it's hard, not that I'm surfing on the wave.
Yes.
Taking myself through the hell.
Yes. I like the image. We're by the water, and it's interesting because things are always changing. And when I work with leaders and I work with people in general, I say, you have a choice. You can either get hit by the wave of change, or you can ride the wave of change.
Yeah.
And so I like riding the wave of change. So you have to be proactive. You have to say yes to life, and then choose how you want to be.
I love that.
Yes.
And congratulations on your second book, Unlocked. And it's actually about how to maintain or find that flow. Can you tell us a little?
Yes. So the book Unlocked, Embrace Your Greatness, Find the Flow, Discover Success is really about all people unlocking, not just 4 stars, but this idea that we have a masterpiece within and that we imprison ourselves, or we have a system of hideouts that we hide out in. And the book is about how to unlock, how to break out. Like if you think about a chrysalis and, caterpillar going in there and metamorphosizing and chipping and getting out, when it comes out, the struggle of getting out gives it the strength to fly. And so that's what we have. We have this masterpiece within. There's nothing wrong with us. We just have to make the choice to unlock. Because once we know we're the ones that lock us out, then we can unlock by embracing our greatness and then finding the flow. It's like we talked about the mic not working, so you find the flow. Whatever life gives you, you say yes to, and then you flow with it, you go with it, and then you find yourself in that process.
Cool. Yeah. So what are the keys to flow?
What are the keys to flow? Say yes to whatever shows up. And then in that space between submission response, choosing. But it's interesting, we find flow in a number of ways, but we talk about the challenge skill balance. Like say if you have a graph and you have it like this, these are the challenges and these are the skills, knowledge, experience. And both of them have to be high. So you have to be in a high state of arousal, even anxiety, and then manageable anxiety. And then when we're there, there's our latent ability expresses itself. All the training we've done has a way of showing up and showing out. So you get into flow when you a little bit out of your comfort zone, and then you just keep it going. You use the right effort. You don't stop. You don't quit. You persist. And at some point, you get to the other side. So I call it, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, but not so uncomfortable that you're stressing out. But a little bit of discomfort, maybe 1%, 2%, 3% of anxiety. But the anxiety is the way.
It's true.
Yes.
And me working as a coach as well, I often encounter that seems like people are afraid of growth or expanding. What do you think? It's
They're afraid about greatness.
Yeah.
Marianne Williamson talked about this. Our greatest fear is we're great. And it's challenging. And I think it's interesting because I have a different perspective. I think my experience is one side of the coin is greatness or freedom or potential. And the other side of the coin is anxiety, uncertainty.
Yeah.
And so when we say yes to our greatness, we're also saying yes to anxiety or feeling discomfort. And back in 1846, Soren Kierkegaard, I think he's a homeboy from around here somewhere. He said one side of the coin is freedom, the other side is anxiety, and he called it the alarming possibility of being able. So let's think about that for a minute. The alarming possibility of being able is because we are able, we're alarmed. And you can see this because when we grow and we change, everything else changes. And so there's a part of us, because it's uncertain, we don't know what's going to happen, but if we can embrace the uncertainty, work through it, and say, yeah, this is how it is. One side is freedom, the other side is anxiety, and I can embrace it, and the anxiety can be a teacher, but I can walk through it, just like I walked through the door. That I have that potential. I have this greatness within me, that I'm wired for success, and it's how I relate to that anxiety that allows it to be a stepping stone, not a roadblock. And so that's it. So so once we embrace that, but we have our nervous system is programmed to go towards what is pleasant, to avoid what is unpleasant, and to space out if it's neither.
Yeah.
Unless it's equanimity and we have an interest, but we're being equanimous, we're holding our center. We're in the eye of the hurricane. We're coming out of that place of rest. And so that's the idea, is that we have to be able to understand that it's by saying yes to whatever comes up and being like water, flow with it. What's the lesson? How do I need to navigate this? And out of that, we develop this tremendous ability to access what I call energizing enthusiasm. Because you think about enthusiasm, it's this idea of learning and achievement. So when you learn something, you see it as an opportunity to grow, opportunity to learn something. Then when you learn it, you achieve something, and that creates enthusiasm. And that enthusiasm allows us to take on more challenges, more risk. And as we continue to do that, we start developing this enthusiasm where we look at a problem and say, oh man, this is awesome. This is an opportunity, the joy of discovery.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then being grateful for the idea that we have this masterpiece, we have this greatness within that we need to unlock. And we unlock it by embracing it, saying yes to it, and applying it to our challenges, our difficulties, because those things, those difficulties are the opportunity for our latent abilities to express themselves. And there's something about being able to be still and know. There's something about being able to see something in a way where we see opportunity, where we come from an orientation of this is a friendly universe, there's an alignment. You know, we align ourselves with the way things are, the way things work, then we are going to discover success. We're going to find a flow, and we're going to be good to go.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, we just do it. And that's been my experience. So I want people to understand that they can unlock, but it starts off with taking personal responsibility, saying yes to life, and then choosing wisely, choosing based on this idea of being authentically who we are, just seeing true north, seeing things as they are, and then embracing, because there's a lawfulness to it. You know, gravity is gravity. There's certain lawfulness to how things are. So we align with how things are to how things, you know, what is. And by embracing it, then we can do something about it. I'll give you an example. Until I said yes to my addiction, I wasn't able to get into recovery. Until I said yes to my chronic pain, I don't like it. But then it brought me to mindfulness. It brought me to this idea, understanding of my self-awareness, self-regulation leads to self-mastery, or that I have control to the degree that I am making wise choices in alignment with my core values, with my goals, with who I say I want to be, what I say I want to do. And for me, it's about love. So it's about love. That's what it is. How can I be more loving? So if I were thinking about it in terms of my Christian upbringing, I would talk about the teachings of Jesus Christ, which talks about love everything and continual forgiveness. So when I make a mistake, when others make a mistake, I have to be able to forgive and forget.
Yeah.
And say, you know, I make mistakes. You don't get beyond being human. But by forgiving and forgetting and letting go and letting be, we create space to do something, to let go of the past and move into what we want to create. But that ability to have atonement or forgive ourselves, forgive others, and to start clean, because to me, that's what it's all about. It's like my iPhone, I don't have it with me, but every once in a while, one of the apps will get stuck.
Yeah.
So how do I fix it? How do I unlock it so it can perform well? I turn it off and turn it back on. Back to factory settings. Reset, reboot, renew. You know, what's the next, how do you unlock? What's important now and when?
Yeah.
Make the next play. Maybe the next play is just breathing in and breathing out. Or just taking a sip of water when your mouth is dry.
Yeah.
But it's like, how can I keep it moving? How can I keep it flowing? And whatever's in the way becomes the way, like I said earlier. So it's exciting, and I know it sounds quirky. And in the book, Unlocked, I talk about chop wood and carry water. So the Zen saying is, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. What does that mean? That means you do things like wash dishes. You go to the bathroom, you do the things that you normally do, and it doesn't matter what your mindset is. You just have to do them, but you do them with this quality of care and attention, of presence, of just doing the next thing wholeheartedly. Doing the next thing where you're expressing yourself honestly. You're not holding anything back. You're just being fully engaged. You're being your best. And you're just doing it for no reason. To do it because you can do it, and to do it with the fullness of self-expression, self-satisfaction that comes from just being in this moment and managing this moment. And that's all you can do.
Yeah.
And it's enough. Does that make sense?
It's true. It's totally true. So talking about flow, how do you work on flow for yourself to maintain that flow?
I get into flow by just doing what I know to do and continuing to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And to continue, you know, that high challenges and high skills. So I'm always working on my skills, you know, ability to to be self-aware, to see clearly, my ability to regulate my thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and even how I'm looking at things. So I'm seeing things clearly and I'm in the moment. I'm not thinking about what was or what will be, but being here now. Just really work on that ability to be present and to keep showing up and showing out and just always doing my best. And I don't mean doing it like with this intensity, but with a joy, with
ease,
with a grace and ease, with like, okay, just do it. It's gonna be fine, and just be there, present, and enjoy it. I say joy now and never. So the joy, the gratitude, the forgiveness, the love, those are the things, those positive qualities. I talk about a lot about this Cherokee legend story about the two wolves. And one wolf, I'll simplify it, is fear, or seeing the glass is half empty. The other wolf is love. And the grandfather is talking to the grandson, and he's saying, there's this ferocious battle going on inside of me between these two wolves. And we all have this is going on inside of all of us.
Yeah.
And the grandson gets concerned and said, grandfather, which one will win? And the grandfather says, the one that I feed. So one way to unlock is to keep feeding the love wolf.
Yeah.
To keep seeing things in ways that keep the heart open, the mind open, and see possibilities. See, okay, there's an opportunity here. There's no such thing as failure, just feedback. So the feedback is saying that didn't work. You got to change what you're doing so that you're able to do what you want to do. Yeah. So it's to reset, reboot, renew, starting over and going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And of course, I said earlier, failure is, there's no such thing as failure, just feedback. So the feedback is telling you, you got to change something. So that feedback loop, that didn't work. So how do I get it to work? What do I need to change? What thoughts, what feelings, what behaviors do I need to engage in so that I can do what I say I can do? So it's really an ability to have mirror mind. She was there, embrace it, and then make a choice about it.
The other day, I listened to an interview with a woman. She's also working as a coach, and she said that the brain is like tofu. Whatever you marinate it with, it's gonna become. And it was so liberating. Just hear that. If you want to put it in easy words, just explain it very easy.
Yes. So people have this. My idea of meditation is more broad, because the dictionary. Webster Dictionary says to meditate is to contemplate. To contemplate means to look at repeatedly or look at closely. So what you just said, this is the philosopher Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. I got my mind on money, money on my mind. That's meditation. So what we're really talking about, yes,
manifest.
Yeah. So it's like that tofu. It's like you're a farmer, and you have rich soil. Whether you plant nightshade or medicine in it, it's going to grow whatever you put in it.
Yeah.
Our minds are like that. So whatever we hold in mind, we manifest.
Yeah.
There's actually a book called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. You know what the strangest secret is? Do you know?
No.
We become what we think about. So just what you said. So you put in nightshade, you're going to get nightshade, which is a poison.
Yeah.
If you put in, whatever, greens or some vegetable that is nurturing, you're going to get that. And so we got to think about it, that our thoughts are things, and what we put in our mind, we manifest. That's another thing about this masterpiece. We have this ability to manifest things, but it's how we think, it's how we feel, it's how we behave that determines whether we're more locked up or we're unlocked. And the unlocked means that we're able to express ourselves like, I know there's a light switch around here somewhere that has a dimmer switch.
Yeah.
And so the unlock is to go from all the way down where it's just lightly, and then to move it out so it's more illumination, there's more. So we have that ability to move that switch up. So when I talk about unlocking, I'm talking about whatever's in the way becomes the way. And our job is to remove it or to chip away so that we can express ourselves as a butterfly rather than as a caterpillar that's crawling around, that we have this ability to transform like that. But it's a personal responsibility and personal choice. We have to choose. We have to say yes to our greatness and then find the flow. Just go and just find the flow. And the flow will come as we get in touch with that greatness, because I think about it this way. When you're in that eye of the hurricane and when you're coming from that place of rest and you're seeing clearly, like I'm looking at the mirror, it just reflects what's there. It's not adding anything to it. It's not interpreting. It's just letting it speak to us in its own language. When we're able to see that, then out of that place of rest, out of that eye of the hurricane, there's a wisdom and a creativity that expresses itself. And we can't know what it is. We just got to get out of the way and let it be there. But I know it's going to be powerful. So we have this ability when we can be still and know. They say that in the Bible. These sayings are not just sayings. There's some element of truth in it, in the sense that when we can come out from that place of rest, when we can see clearly, there's a knowing and there's a creativity that expresses itself.
It is.
In that. And when we do that, that's when I say find the flow. That's when you're unlocking and you're doing things in a way like, oh man, that was cool. Where did that come from? And you see it in sports when people are in flow and they're just playing out of their mind and they're just doing things and there's no self-consciousness there. That's interesting. There's no sense of I, me, or mine. It's just it is just expressing itself. And there's something powerful about that. And that's what we have access to if we're willing to unlock, if we're willing to embrace our greatness.
It's so powerful.
Yes.
And we're so distracted in our society by our phones, social media, everything around us. What's the easiest way to just start implementing mindfulness or just being present and turn off the noise and just be?
It's interesting because when we talk about mindfulness, which is part of it, I talk about the 5 superpowers. There's mindfulness, but mindfulness without knowing what to be mindful of, not having the insight or wisdom. And I look at wisdom as information and intellect or reason and a direct experience or intuition. So there's mindfulness and wisdom from moment to moment. So you can be a little mindful of what's happening, but then we got to know what's our intention and what are we doing. And to be able to do that, so you have mindfulness and you have wisdom or insight. But wisdom and insight is just one part of it. The other part of it is faith or trust. Like, this is a friendly universe. There's a lawfulness to it. So if I have too much faith and not enough verification of it or direct experience of it, then it becomes Pollyanna-ish. But so most of us have a lot of insight, reason, and just ideas about how things are, but we don't have faith, so we become cynical. So mindfulness helps us balance them, so to bring more faith into it. And if we have too much faith, to verify the faith. So those are. So I talk about mindfulness, wisdom, and mindfulness, wisdom, and faith. But then you have to make the effort, and then you have to have stability of mind or be concentrated. So all of these 5 superpowers are there to be mindful. To have right effort to persist, you need those 4 qualities that have to be balanced by mindfulness, insight, concentration, and trust. So it's always there. So this idea of understanding that we have this ability to just see things, and in the seeing things clearly, there's a wisdom that comes out of that. And then the wisdom directs our effort, directs our focus, and it enhances our trust in what's happening. Does that make sense? I know I put all that in there, but I usually talk about it as self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-control or self-mastery. So that's what we have. We have the ability to choose our response to things and the way that we see things and the way that we keep developing these skills. So now when we have challenges, when we have things that seem like they're overwhelming or impossible, we can embrace that and go to that in a way that's really helpful, that you get through it. Now recently, about a week ago, but was it last week? No, I think I was just in New York. It was on Thursday.
Yeah, I saw you.
I did this well-being concert at Carnegie Hall, and it's about exploring the relationship between music and well-being. And I usually go in and I do like a little arrival meditation to get people settled and present. And they asked me to be the host of the whole thing. I've never done that before. I was way out of my comfort zone. And we had like 3 rehearsals. And each rehearsal, it went from bad to worstest. And then finally, but I just embraced it and said, okay, this is interesting. And I had a little voice that said, we shouldn't be here. Why are we doing this? This is out of our comfort zone, right? Just really, but it was like a little, it wasn't loud. It was just like a little something. So I just continued to just focus on making the next play. What's important now? And I had this big, it was just too complicated. It was so much stuff. It was just noise and clutter, all the things I had to do. So I simplified it, had little bullet points. And then when I was able to go out there and I read it and I did it, it was smooth. I had a flow. But I was challenged beyond my skill set. But I mean, beyond my, I was challenged. My challenges were high and my skills had to be high. So I had to raise my energy and focus and just really get clear about what's important now, keep it simple, make the next play, and then after that, do what you know to do in the next step. And so I just kept working at it. The whole time I was working, just rewriting stuff and everything. Then when I got out there, just floating. And so I had to beat a message, just like, okay, I took on something that was way out of my comfort zone, but I didn't withdraw energy. I brought more energy into it. I brought more into how can I express myself in this situation? What do I need to change? And I kept getting the feedback and I kept getting the information and then changing, learning the lesson from those 3 rehearsals. And they were like, leading up to the show. It was all in one day. So we were there from like 1 to about 5. And then we had to perform at 6 and it was a 1-hour thing. And that's what I learned from it. And afterwards I felt much better. And then I also know if I do it again, here are all the things that I could do to make it better.
Right.
And be more present. So that's what I mean by find a flow. It's like embrace my greatness. I can figure this out, but I have to apply myself and I have to show up and just think about, what's important now.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. What's the intention? How can I express myself in this situation that I've never been in before? And that happens all day long. You go into a store, you got to use a credit card, whether you use the chip or not. I find myself challenged to go into a new hotel. I'm in a new, different country and I'm in the airport and I get lost. Like, okay, they tell me to go there. I go there and they say, you're on the wrong line. And okay. So I go to the help desk and say, where am I supposed to be? Oh, your plane is landing, getting about, they're just loading, passengers are just checking in. So I went and got there. But it was this idea of not quitting, not, oh my God, just saying, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Okay, get to the thing. But and then next time I said, well, I'm going to put the app on my phone. So now the app can tell me what I'm supposed to be, because when I looked at the board, there was no gate number. So, and it's foreign language. So you figure it out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I'm saying this happens every day.
It does.
It happens every moment that we get hit with something and we have to figure stuff out. But we have this masterpiece. We have this ability. If we can come out of that silence, there's a wisdom and there's a creativity that comes out of it.
And what I think, thank you so much for sharing this, because it's so beautiful and also important to show that we have this idea of that you're fully growth, or you just don't keep on growing. You just reach that plateau and you're finished with work, but you're not. And that is so beautiful to hear, that someone that is working on themselves daily and helping other people as well struggle with the same situations as every other mortal being. And it's all about not inviting that inner critic to the table or not letting it run the show. It shows up. It's never going to disappear completely.
Yeah.
But
just make the next play.
Yeah.
So it's not just for athletes, it's for everybody. What's the next thing? What's important now?
Yeah.
Reset, reboot, renew. Okay, then go. But yes, so you learn from it. And it's funny how there's a part of us that keeps us out of trouble. I didn't miss my flight.
Yeah.
What's up with that? If you think about it, I'm not complaining, but there's something that was still guiding me, and even though it was very challenging being and not knowing the language and being in a foreign country and not getting the information like I'm used to getting it, and talking to people and them giving me the wrong information.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I finally found the Iceland Air thing, and I said, hey, what gate number is it? And they told me, and then I went and got on the plane. And then I got on there and I was on the seat. It got here. It's like it never happened, because I just kept find the flow. Just keep moving. Where's the current going? Just go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be like water. Like, oh, only one mic. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. We just make it work. Yes.
Lovely.
I can't express how important it is for all of us to unlock it. So because we need everybody's unique individual self. And I don't mean it in a selfish way. I mean it in a way where we have something to offer the world. And it's only going to come out of our authenticity, out of our own potential.
Yeah.
And that if we can get people to get committed to know themselves so they can be themselves, so they can express themselves, so they can share themselves, that's a process of being unlocked.
So being a person that made this major transformation yourself, I mean, going from drug abuse to what you are today,
right?
You must have listened to that inner voice and somehow telling you that you're worthy of this life.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because what will happen, let's say I have a presentation, let's say I do have a presentation on Thursday.
Yeah.
So in the old days, when I was first developing, I'd be thinking about all the ways it could go wrong. But because I'm focusing on what I can do and getting clear about how I want to serve, thoughts are ways of playing out scenarios. So the scenarios that play out in my mind now are how it's going to work. So I usually have like 6 ways of making it work. So it's about answering that voice and changing it in alignment, because that inner voice is an alignment of my mindset. So my mindset is love. Then my thoughts, my words, my actions are all going to be love. And so it's just looking at how can I serve and how it can work. So coming from the half full, I'm looking at what I want and how I'm going to serve versus looking at how I might fail or not deliver. It's a very different psychology. So it's all about changing the mind so it's my friend and it's able to say, oh, we got this. It's going to be okay. It's like my own cheerleader. So my inner roommate. So the inner roommate, you can make that your worst enemy or you can make it your best friend.
Yeah.
By choosing what you're going, self-regulation, choosing what you're going to think, choosing on how you look at things. And so I'm looking at how it's going to work and what I want and how I want to serve. Then that mindset is going to be reflected in my self-talk. So they say, the self-talk is a reflection of mind, and the mind is a reflection of God or whatever your ultimate reality is. So if I'm focused on love, if I have my mind on love, I got love on my mind, and that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, and as you said or mentioned, that focus on what you can give instead of what you can receive.
Right, that's it.
I often refer it as well to the mental library, or that we're spending so much time decorating our living rooms with the perfect couch and the sofa and the furniture and the curtains, the everything, that we should focus the same on decorating our inner space as well, you know.
Yes, creating an environment of inclusion, love, compassion, joy. That's it.
A space to hang out around.
Yes. You know, all you need is love.
I like it.
Yes.
I'm so happy that you wanted to join this podcast, and I'm really looking forward to hear your speech on Thursday at President Summit.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be here, and love and blessings to you and everyone out here and also behind the scenes, not seen.
Yeah. The dream team.
The dream team.
It is.
It can't be seen.
Right. Thank you so much.
Is that a wrap?
It is.